One of my close advisors told me if I didn't agree to sell the company right now, I would regret that decision for the rest of my life. Relationships were so frayed that within a year or so, every single person on our management team was gone. That was my hardest time leading Facebook.
In the 21st century, we can say that we've been privileged to see some of the greatest next steps of mankind led by her most brilliant minds, like Bill Gates, Larry Ellison, Larry Page and Sergey Brin, Jeff Bezos, Steve Jobs, and of course, Elon Musk, the wealthiest person in the world. The king of social media, however, remains Mark Elliott Zuckerberg. And in this video, we'll take a look at a day in the life of Facebook's CEO. Oops, my bad, Meta's CEO. We're taking a day in the life of Meta's CEO to discover if he's a robot, alien, or lizard person, as all the rumors say.
I am not a lizard.
And you know, in defense of Mark, lizards start out their day laying on a hot rock under the morning sun to jumpstart their metabolism. Mark, on the other hand, starts his day on a bed. And instead of metabolizing vitamin D and regulating body temperature, the first thing he does is pick up his phone and go through Facebook, Facebook Messenger, and WhatsApp. He wakes up by 8 a.m. and before even putting on his contacts, he takes his time on these apps, something he has admitted to being bad for his eyes. However, waking up by 8 a.m. may not have always been the norm for Mark, seeing as in the early days of the company, the workplace was like a frat house where everyone came late to work, worked late, and partied even more late into the night at work. But after having a family, a lot of that had to change. Exercise is very important to Mark, and he has a session 3 times a week. Sometimes it's in the gym, but he has said that running is one of his favorite ways to exercise, and he brings his his dog on some of these runs. Beast, as it is called, is a Hungarian sheepdog that adds some color and humor to the activity.
Your toast is ready.
All right. It's time for my call with Shrep. Can you get him on the video conference line?
Setting up the VC room now.
Next, it's time for breakfast, and Mark isn't picky about what he eats. He has so much on his plate that he sometimes barely lets his food touch the plate before he eats it. I guess that's just his programming. And his choice of clothing is just as simple. In fact, Mark Zuckerberg, the CEO of one of the biggest companies on Earth, is just a pair of Timberlands away from looking like a construction worker. You'll always find him in his gray t-shirt and a pair of jeans. Even cartoon characters don't have this abundance of the same attire all the time. However, these t-shirts are not cheap. They are custom made for comfort by Italian designer Brunello Cucinelli, also known as the King of Cashmere. They cost $400 a piece, and Mark's smart home yeets one to him every morning when he's ready to go to work. His choice of simple foods and clothes is based on his principle of making the simplest choices possible so that he doesn't have to spend too much time making a decision on less important things when he could be making decisions to turn real experiences into virtual ones. That's right, we all know about Meta by now. Like I said earlier, we're living in one of the most exciting times in history, where we have this guy, an alleged human trying to colonize Mars, and this guy, an alleged alien trying to take over the Earth. And Meta is a big part of Zuck's day when he gets to work during the day. However, unbeknownst to many, it has been on his mind for a long time. Way back in 2014, during a Q&A session at Tsinghua University in China, Mark was asked by a student what he thought would be the future of tech. He said that there were 3 things he saw as being important. Number 1, connect the entire world. Number 2, artificial intelligence. And number 3,
virtual reality.
These 3 things take up Mark's time at work. Meta, has already started plans to connect the world. One of their biggest projects is their billion-dollar 37,000 undersea cable moving around the continent to provide fast and reliable internet to 23 countries on the continent. In terms of artificial intelligence, Meta AI has also begun developing projects like deepfake detection, dense pose, and AI for commerce, which will make online shopping easy for both buyers and sellers. And in terms of virtual reality, well, it's been on everyone's mouth. The tech that everyone has been scared of, for its potential to turn us into Wall-E people with screens attached to our faces. But it remains to be seen if the metaverse makes humanity go full Ready Player One. Zuck spends 50 to 60 hours a week working on Facebook. But another thing that occupies Mark's time is the amount of traveling he has to do. And when he travels, his schedule is a bit different. He spends a lot on security and private jet charter when he meets up with people like Donald Trump, Pope Francis, President Emmanuel Macron, and even Vin Diesel. He also spends time on some guilty pleasures of his, like reading or learning a language. In 2015, he made a resolution to read a new book every 2 weeks, and this timetable is peculiar since it gives him flexibility. In terms of learning new languages, Mark is very impressive.
他告诉我，你的听力用英文也差。
Imagine my surprise seeing Mark Zuckerberg not only speaking Mandarin Chinese, one of the hardest languages to learn, but also telling a genuinely funny joke. In fact, his wife, Priscilla Chan, even said that he used to be better at the language than her. Now, I know, there are probably memes in your head about him successfully installing the Mandarin language package into his software, but no. Mark did actually take a whole year to learn the language, and he does so for other languages too. During the pandemic, his daily activities were a bit different. Turns out staying at home will do that to you. Mark and Priscilla say that they don't keep work away from home, so we can be sure that Mark still worked on Facebook while he and his wife worked together on their joint company, the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative.
A now 4-year-old company funding achievements in medical science and other fields.
One other activity that the couple shared, especially during lockdowns, was Mark's haircuts. Priscilla helped him with the trim, which has caused a lot of discussion on social media, with one user saying that it might have something to do with Mark's love for Augustus Caesar, the first emperor of ancient Rome. This love has been confirmed by Priscilla herself, as she once said he couldn't stop talking about Augustus Caesar when they went on their honeymoon in Rome. And wouldn't you know it, one of their beautiful daughters is even named August. The Caesar cut, as it has been dubbed, is named after Julius Caesar himself, the great uncle of Augustus Caesar. And sure, Priscilla can complain about how much Zuck loves to talk about his passions, but what is also undeniable is that he loves his family deeply. Deep enough to make even this guy jealous. At nighttime every week, Mark and Priscilla have what is called date night.
How often is date night and what is date night?
We're pretty good about this.
Every week.
We do it every week. Yeah.
And no work talk on date night?
No work talk.
Who
on date
started
night.
date night? Whose idea was that?
It's Mark's idea.
Really?
Yes.
Mark, are you the sentimental one in this relationship?
Mark even said that FaceMash and not Facebook was the most important product he built at Harvard because it led him to Priscilla. Today in their marriage, Priscilla confirms that he comes back late sometimes due to work, but he makes up for it all by spending quality time with her and the kids. Like Fridays, where the entire family gets together to make use of their worn-out recipe book to bake challah bread for Shabbat. When Mark comes home to tuck in his 2 daughters at night, he says a traditional Jewish prayer, Mi Shaberach, that goes like this: May the source of strength who's blessed the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing. The robot jokes might be on us at the end of the day, because while we prove that we're humans by identifying a truck or a traffic light, Mark Zuckerberg proves he's human by showing a lot of love to his family. At the end of the day, Mark has taken care of the biggest social media companies in the world, managed several companies to connect the world and take us to the future, and still made time for his family. That's how you live each day if you're Mark Zuckerberg. You can check out this video while you're still here. And as for Mark's legacy, well, why don't you ask him yourself?
You seem to be replacing Larry and Sergey as the people out here who everyone's talking about. You're just staring at me.
Is that a question?
Yeah.